to order. Are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
Yes, we are.
This meeting has been posted in various locations throughout the city. The first item to consider is Bill number 2008-29, annexation number ANX 27333, property location on the southwest corner of Jones Boulevard and Elkhorn Road, petitioned by Victor Hector et al., acreage 1.46 acres, zoned RE County, UDR, city equivalent, proposed by our charming Margaret Miller, Director of the Department of Planning and Development.
Thank you. Staff is sponsoring this because the councilman whose ward it would be in has yet to determine his opinion on the matter, and therefore he asked staff to bring it forward for consideration. We would be bringing the parcel in a residential DR desert rural designation. If the applicant wishes to have for commercial or any other use in the future, they would have to go through a general plan and rezoning. What this is simply to annex from the county RE to the city DR, which is desert rural. And that staff would recommend approval of the annexation, again, as the same designation as it was in the county.
Do we have any other comments from staff?
Other than the bill is in order from
The bill is in
city
order.
attorney's office, yes, perspective.
Okay. Anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Councilman, what is your pleasure?
Move for due pass.
The motion is made to do pass. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion moves to do pass. The next item on the agenda is Bill number 2008-30, updates provisions of the city's sign regulations relating to enforcement, remedies, and penalties, and it's sponsored by Councilman Gary Reese.
I can speak to that.
Okay.
You probably are familiar with this a little bit. I know that it's come up over the last 6 months or so, some issues related to the sign code, which is this Title 19, Chapter 14. There were some things that we have amended, two things basically, is to take out the presumption that was giving these people putting up the signs a defense in the administrative hearing. So that's going to get fixed. And then at the request of Councilman Reese, the fees have been substantially increased so that when they are caught, their fines are going to be pretty hefty.
Would you speak to the defense from those in the sign industry so that I may have an understanding of what you're referring to?
What happens sometimes is that say for instance a business hires a company, a sign company, to put up signs in legal places. That's what they always tell us.
Like carpet cleaning and things like that.
Yes, Councilwoman. And so what happens is they enter into a contract, a lot of times we've seen anyway, with these sign companies that are a promoter. It's either sign company or promoter. Sometimes it's for special events like dance clubs, all kinds. Well, you see it, and then in addition to that, you see these signs showing up on the light poles. Those are the problems.
Oh, you mean like the flyers, those big...
Yes.
Okay.
That's some of them.
Okay.
And then they have some more professionally done that are put in legitimate places. But all these are off-site signs, and there are permits required, et cetera, and they go around, as I'm sure both of you have seen, and they just put them up on all the poles they can find.
And most of these are on public property, on the power poles and things like that.
That's right. It's either
With
that
those
or
big
power
fixed-
owned or ours.
We used to tear them down, but we can't tear them down now because they've got, well, first they've raised the height so we can't reach it. And then secondly, they put these very strong bolts in there that are almost, you're unable to.
So one of the defenses was that the property, the business that was being promoted, their defense would be, we don't have, we didn't tell our guy to do this, we told him to put up in a legally appropriate manner. And so that was a defense that we got tired of hearing all the time. So we can't take it out of the criminal process because of some constitutional issues, but in the civil process, administrative process, which could potentially come before the council, they cannot hide behind the fact that they had a third party do this on their behalf. If their name is on it, they're responsible for it. And if they get pinged for a fee, then they better have something in their contract to collect it back from the promoter or the sign company that put it up illegally on their behalf. So we're hoping between that and the increase in the fees that that's going to help. At least it'll kick the chair out from underneath them to make that argument, which they've been pretty successful with. And there's 2 or 3 businesses that tend to use the same defense over and over and over again. And so this is was one of the ways to kind of attempt to address the problem.
So help me understand, how do we enforce, number one, going after the individuals who are putting these signs up? And number two, how do we then follow up to cite the actual owner of the event?
Well, the process, we get a complaint, and we have every right to just go take down the signs. Then we go contact the sign owner, and we say, hey, and then we take pictures. We had all these signs, 20, 30 signs on these various poles, et cetera, et cetera. We go there, and
So
typically,
you contact the number on the sign?
if there is a number, and sometimes the number is a recording, and we can't get behind
Right,
that, which
correct.
becomes a problem from an investigative perspective. But
Because traditionally they're just voicemails as far as directing you to a venue.
that's right, Council.
So that's the point that I'm trying to lead
Well-
you to, as far as for you to explain. Number one, how do you get to that point of the voicemail and getting past it, and then finding out who are the responsible parties?
If it's an event at a specific location, it's whoever owns that location. If it's like these pooper scooper, little dog things, or I'll buy your real estate sign, or there's a whole host of these things.
Mhm.
And that has been a challenge investigatively for neighborhood services to find out who the company is behind this. They've worked with municipal court to try to enforce this stuff, and I think we're going to start taking a different tack and use more of a civil process. But to answer your question directly, this isn't going to affect our ability to somehow get behind the scenes and figure out who those people are. We can set up various, we've talked about setting up sting operations to go meet with the people and try to, ferret out who they are, because it is very difficult sometimes. And in particular, with 2 or 3 of these types of businesses, they're in California, they're in Colorado, they're in Connecticut, they're all over the country, and then trying to find out who they are, their corporate structure, and who's responsible becomes really difficult from a proof perspective. So I don't want to imply or that somehow this is going to be the end-all to that problem. That problem isn't really going to go away. That's an investigative problem, and I've been working with neighborhood services. I didn't realize it had become such a problem, but I started working with them probably about 2 to 3 months ago, figuring out how to address the very thing you're talking about, finding out who is behind the signs.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else from staff or anybody from the audience who would wish to comment on this item? And what's your pleasure, Mr. Councilman?
Move for due pass.
The motion is made to do pass. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion do passes. Now is the time for public participation from the citizens. Is there anybody here who would like to make a participatory effort? Then the meeting is adjourned.
So hopefully, what they honestly have been trying to do with those, it's the dogs and the I'll buy your property ads, those 2 biggies, that they've really had a difficult time.
Well, in our
Finding out
area,
who
it's
they
the
are.
carpet cleaning a lot, but
Oh,
you know what, you
you
have
have
to
the-
begin someplace.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk to me today? You don't have to.